Hi folks, an unusual one for me to have up on the bench. You maybe remember from some of my previous videos it would be 4 or 5 line televisions, it might be radios, it might be something like that, amateur radio things. But today we now have a Citroen 2CV engine on the the bench. I acquired this yesterday, a wee bit of faffing with postage, unfortunately, from the lad that was selling it, but I got it for a very good price. And the guy was really good, excellent guy to deal with, very nice. And to be quite honest, the hassle we had, I gave him a wee couple of quid extra, just to help him on his way. So anyway, it turned up yesterday afternoon and got it out of the packing and had a wee look and so on. And initial look said, aye, it needs a good clean up, blah blah blah. So the first thing I did was make sure there was all the holes were definitely fully plugged, etc., etc., and got the pressure washer out and the TFR. Oh, you must remember that from the old days. Which got rid of the big chunks of dirt and so on and so forth off it. It made not a bad job, but it wasn't really particularly brilliant. But it was better than nothing. Anyway, I brought it out, got it left into the shed in here yesterday afternoon, and the wife was working in her job last night, so I thought, I'm going out to have a wee play with it. So the first thing I did was I took the heads off, and I haven't done any. This is the head for this particular side, left hand side from the front. That's the head for it here, and it's lovely. It's in really nice condition. There's no signs of any staining from the oil. The oil is actually obviously been regularly changed and so on and so forth, and probably a decent quality oil that's been used in it. A little bit carbon. But you'd expect that, I mean, it's been run. A wee bit of carbon in there, but only very light carbonisation. The head has obviously been off, and they've tried the usual, tried to get this aligned back in, and they've mangled up the ends. Common complaint. Yeah, there's a way of doing it by angling the head as you're putting it through the bolts. Before you enter that, if you don't, they just hit up against the block and they get mangled. So you've got to do it right. If you don't do it right, well, you just waste them. Now, I'm not going to try and repair them. You can try to square them up, but that's too far gone in my opinion. So the idea is to replace these tubes, and the best way to do this is I've done them in the past, and the way it worked for me was you warm up the head, stick it in the oven even, get it to about 120 degrees, warm it up, and get a tin of freezer. As a TV engineer, we used to use tins of freezers for fault finding for components for duff. So if you get it nice and warm, you spray in there, it'll contract very slightly. It's enough, and you give it a good sharp pull. They usually come out. So hopefully that will solve that problem, get them out. And we'll get 2, in fact, probably put 4. I think the ones on the other heads are actually all right, but you get 4 new push rod drain tubes, so that'll be fine. So anyway, I only got that off, and I discovered that I had a wee look at the pistons and the barrels, and I have to say that there was no sign of any wear ridge whatsoever, and I mean no sign. There was a light carbonisation on the piston head, but not an awful lot. So I then set about to check to see if there was any oil in it, and there was virtually no oil. I loosened the sump plug and sat the whole engine block onto a container, and I'd be lucky if I got 1/8 of a cup full of oil out of it. I just let it drip away for a while. So I thought, right, I want to see if I can get oil pressure up in this thing. So the oil filter that was on it had a big dent in it, so I unscrewed that. And I just left it unscrewed, filled it up with sufficient oil for the pump to suck it up, and started to turn the flywheel through one of the wee balancing holes in the back with a screwdriver in it. And after just a few turns, not many, maybe 10 turns at the most, or 15 possibly, oil was spewing out of the housing. And I thought, oh, that's fine, so that's good. So I filled up the filter with fresh oil, screwed the filter on. It dripped a wee bit here and there, but not to worry. Screwed the filter on and went about turning the engine over again. And at that point, I realised that the what do you call it? This bolt here. Hold on, it's a bit. That's us. Right. This banjo for the oil feed to the heads, which there was no pipes. I didn't get that with the engine. It was just lightly screwed in. It was spewing out of there. Oh dear, and I stopped it. It took ages for it to drop, to stop dripping. So anyway, I put a kind of spacer in it and a couple of O-rings each end, so I effectively blanked that off, so as it wasn't coming out. So I then started to turn the flywheel again, but this time I had connected up my meter onto the oil pressure switch, just to see in the off chance that it might open the contacts. Anyway, of course it was bleeping away. It was on, the meter was on continuity, and once I started to spin it, I think it was maybe about 20 seconds, obviously the contacts opened and the meter stopped bleeping. So oil pressure had come up. Probably not much, but enough to open the switch anyway. But at that point, it started to leak out the oil cooler. As you can see, it's sitting at a funny angle. I think it's had a bit of a dunt or a knock. A dunt's a Scottish word, incidentally. So it's been knocked at some point, and it's probably fractured in here. So we need a new oil cooler. So that was fair enough. So today I set about doing something to it, and that was I got my STP degreaser spray that I got, and it was very good at removing the vast majority of the wee bits of dirt. But the casing is a bit discoloured. I mean, you can see it up here. I haven't done this side, and and even no matter what you do with the brush, it doesn't come off. And I'm not going to go into. I'm not going to get into it with sandpaper or anything like that. There's no way. There's no way I was going to do that. So I thought, a wee bit of this kind of zinc spray left. I thought, I'm going to give it a wee go with that and see what it looks like. And actually, it's okay. It's not as nice as it would be, but it's all right. So I've done that. So anyway, I pulled the barrel off, and what I've done is I've checked it. I've checked the ring gaps. The ring gaps are fine. There's perceptible wear, but only just. It makes me think it's a very, very low mileage engine. But the thing that I was more interested in was, to be fair, to find out if there's any wear in the big ends. Now, yesterday, before I did anything to this, I did pull the barrel off, and I checked for play on this big end. This by holding the big end and giving it a kind of twisting motion. Right, and there was nothing. I couldn't feel anything, and then of course pushing it in and out, nothing at all. No perceptible play there whatsoever. And don't forget, this is from an engine that's been lying for 20 years, and I can't imagine there'd be any oil film around the big ends. So I thought, right, well, that's a big plus. So of course, I've now run oil in it. The crank will have had oil through it, and so on and so forth, as would have the big end bearings. So they've now been lubricated, probably the first time for many, many years. So that's fine. So I thought, no, I was going to convert this to a 652 or possibly even a 720, but I'm thinking, no, it's not going to cost me anything except for a couple of tubes and things and bits and pieces like that, and a gasket set and so on and so forth, for the oil filler and the one or two bits that I need. It's to actually do this up and see what it's like as a 602cc engine. So we'll see. Now, it's a very late A06635 engine. It seems to be coming in round about the mid time of 1988. The fourth number on the serial plate is 8, which tells me it's the 8th year of that particular decade it was made in. Well, we know it's an 80s engine. So when I unscrewed the filter, there's a thing in there to tell me that it's a wee stamp that it was a 1988 engine with 6 dots. So that would make me think this has been made in June of 1988. But also something I've just discovered just not that long ago is on the front of the engine, there's a couple of markings as well. I'll try and show you this. I don't know whether you'll see. I don't want to bring it all the way down. But if you can see in there, I don't know if you'll get it very well. See, there's an 88 there, right? And there's also a number beside it. There's also another one here, which is 25 and 88. Now, I don't know what the 25 means, but I'm pretty certain that the 88 is probably the age of the casting. So the engine's definitely 1988. It's not a 1989. It's going to be a 1988. Yeah. So that's a good thing that I know it's one of the kind of later ones, because production stopped in 1990. I don't know when I can't remember when it actually moved to Portugal right enough. I think it might have been 89 or 88 possibly. But I don't know whether this is a Portuguese engine or a French one. Anyway, I've cleaned it all up. As you can see, the crown of the piston is lovely and clean. I used that oven cleaner. Brilliant. You just spray it on. You make sure it's all wrapped so it doesn't get anywhere on the actual body of the piston, but on the head it's come up beautiful. The crown's lovely, and no scraping or anything like that on there. Not done into the head yet. As you can see, it's got light carboning, not much, and as you can see, the inside of it is very clean. No oil staining or anything like that. So that's very encouraging. So that's it started. Oh, we've started working this side. I mean, it still could be, but I'm going to take the mounts off and cleaning behind there as well. Try to get it as nice as I can. One or two things I need to get for. I need to get an oil cooler. I need to get the oil feed pipe as well, and the two banjo bolts. Obviously the drain tubes for the heads. I'll get them. Don't think there's anything else I can see that's likely to be an issue. Maybe a set of valve seals, because I'm obviously going to give it a decoat, grind the valves in, etc., etc. So we'll do that. But we'll do the block first. We'll get the block. The block's the easiest bit to do, to be honest with you, because it's all it's needing is a clean up. I actually sprayed this barrel with very high temperature paint as well, so I've done that. So this is the one that's not been done. As you can see the difference, all the rust on there, and how this one's all been cleaned up. And we can also see on this one, let's spin this around a bit more. And pattern again, there we are. So you can see the light carbonisation on the piston crown, and all the dirt. And there's the oil pressure switch that I was referring to earlier on. Still got a fuel pump on it. This stud, it's got a bend in it, but oh, and there's another stud. I can replace that, it's not a problem. The flywheel is a bit rough, but my friend has an engineering shop, so hopefully he can give it a wee quick skim. We might do that. We might think of something else. And I do believe the later ones have the lighter flywheel. I don't think it's a heavy flywheel that's on this. I think it's the early one that is the heavy flywheels. So the bar will come off, do the same thing I've done to that side, clean all this up, and then we'll start working on the heads. So yeah, that's what we've done so far. I don't know, I'd probably land up in the Lomax, I think at some point. I've got a bit of a noisy tappet on the one that's in it, but I don't know how it would run as 602cc in the Lomax with the GSA gearbox, which is a 5-speed and higher ratio. I do feel that even 652 tends to struggle a bit. Whether there's something up with that engine that's in it, I don't know. There might be. It might be down in power for some reason. It might be needing some work. I won't know obviously until I take it out. But I think this one will probably land up in there, and once I've overhauled it and so on. It won't be going in this year. I need 2 exhaust pipes for the Lomax. The pipes from the head to the Y section on the exhaust, they're mild steel and they're literally falling apart. I don't think it's going to get used. It's actually sitting out my back door underneath the cover there. So I've got it around the back, just out of the way. I don't have a garage, so it's under cover. And the weather hasn't been good to really do much work on it. The weather's been really rubbish. It's not a bad day today, but I have a brake job to do on my Hyundai, so I need to do that. But I'm quite enjoying pulling this wee thing to bits and having a wee poke about with it. A long time since I've had a 2CV engine in bits. Nice wee engines, and they're good to work on, and dead simple, and that's the big thing about it, and very much long lived if you look after them. So hopefully everything's going to go well with us. We'll soon see when we do eventually try and start it up. Maybe try and start it up off the car, if I can grab hold of a gearbox as I can get access to a starter motor. I might try and do that if I possibly can. That might be the best way and get an idea how it's, to make sure it's working. But I'll probably look for a manifold, to be honest. There's no manifold with it, so I'll look for a manifold and a carburetor as well. But we'll see how things go. Anyway, I thought I'd let you see this, just something a wee bit different, something I don't normally do in the shed, and so far so good. That's all I can say. So thanks for watching. Take care and enjoy your motoring, enjoy your vintage televisions, and also your amateur radio. Bye for now. Bye.